Peterson, and welcome to Solo Pro Radio. I'm your host today, and I'd like to introduce myself just a little bit. I'm the author of Better, Smarter, Richer, 7 Business Principles for Solo and Creative Entrepreneurs. As you know, being a solo in business is a little bit tricky, and there isn't much business advice out there for solos in business. You know, solos, you as one-person professionals, one-person creative organizations, or even many of you encore entrepreneurs, the people 50 plus who are starting businesses, maybe because at last you're going to get to do what you've wanted to do forever and ever. So take a look at Better, Smarter, Richer, because over my 35 years of advising and counseling and mentoring business owners, I've really uncovered 7 principles that you must follow if you're going to find success as a solopreneur. When you go to the website, bettersmarterricher.com, you can also sign up for our newsletter, join the conversation on the blog. All of our radio guests quite often get an opportunity to post to the blog, and we've got a big discussion going with many, many, many solos in different walks of life. Also, you can download the free ebook on Better, Smarter, Richer and learn more about it. And, of course, you can buy the book, Better, Smarter, Richer, which is a fill-in-the-blanks workbook and takes you through exercises that change the way that you think about your career and help lead you to financial success. I also offer online a course, the Better, Smarter, Richer Study Group course. We do it in person here in Portland, Oregon, but you may want to take that course and take it with me, and you can find it online at www.opensesame.com. Also, what you can do is that we've got some short classes that are about to be posted on the website. One is called How to Charge What You're Worth. Another is How to Establish Yourself as an Expert. And a third one is How to Find Your Target Market. Plenty of opportunities for you to grow your business by tuning into BetterSmarterRicher.com. But for today, I want to introduce you to my guest. Raj Setty is a serial entrepreneur who calls himself a business alchemist. He's based in Silicon Valley, and he's the founder and president of WittyParrot, Inc. He has been instrumental in founding several technology and publishing companies in the U.S. and India. Raj is a published author and has 12 books to his credit so far. He has been a member of the Bank of Angels since 2007. He's also an award-winning teacher in the Founders Institute and a mentor in the Foundation's 20 Under 20 program. Raj is high energy with a great positive attitude and a winning way. We're about to have a great conversation. Hello, Raj.
Hello, Jackie. Good to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you could join me this morning. I don't know how it is where you are, but here in Portland it's kind of gray and rainy, and I'm looking forward to a sun-filled conversation. Be kind of fun.
Yeah,
so,
it's bright and sunny here, so I can pass on some sunlight there.
Oh, we'll love that. So, Raj, tell us your story. When did you first discover that you see the world in a different way and that you have a message of enthusiasm and business can do to bring to the world?
Definitely, Jackie. So it all started very early in my life, which was all like a happy accident. I was very fascinated by reading fiction. So I read about 700 books by the time I was about 9. So if you ask my mom, she will tell you that none of them were useful books. They were all like spy thrillers and murder mysteries and those kinds of things. So when I was about 10, I thought, I read so many books, maybe I can write my own book. So at that time I was so young that nobody thought anything about it. But I started writing my own book. It took me about 8 months to write a 200-page book. Then I thought the time has come for me to get it published. So I'll just reach out to a publisher, and then I'll get a red carpet welcome because I just wrote the book. I thought not many people will write it, so people will be really glad that I went to them. It's almost like it was a privilege to them to publish it. That's what I was thinking. So obviously you know how it works. So
I do.
I started getting rejected faster than I was pitching. So I'll keep the story short. I was rejected 160 times in a span of three and a half years. Finally, at 13 and a half, I got my first book published. But I was ready to keep going because I thought, by that time I had discovered that being rejected is part of life. And maybe I need to get rejected 300 times. I might as well get through them very, very quickly. So that was what was going on in my mind. But luckily, God was on my side. And at 13 and a half, I got the first book published. So I always joke around and tell people, what have you studied? I say, I have a Bachelor of Electronics and a PhD in how to get rejected. So that started the whole journey. That after that there was hardly anything to look back because people there were awards, youngest writer of the Karnataka state where I come from, and I also got a job as a journalist in a local newspaper where I studied. I got the first big life lesson. The getting rejected was lesson number 0 because that happens to every one of us. Lesson number 1 was where I learned when I was working as a budding journalist, a local newspaper. So I used to report on everything, so political events, movie reviews, local stuff, grievances, anything and everything. I wrote about 400 articles in a span of 4 years. But at the same time, there was a lesson to be learned. So I used to go to these press club events, and people would, some of the new people would be wondering, who is this kid here? He's like a water boy or something. So they would call me and they would ask me some really complicated question. But what do you think of the law that got passed? And then I would be blinking my eyes, and then they would say, oh, okay. So I was like made fun of every now and then. At that time, my mentor, who was the editor of the magazine, the newspaper, called me one day and he asked me, so I know you were a kid, but do you really want to stay as a kid or do you want to grow up one day? I said, no, I don't want to grow up. So why are you asking? So he said, when somebody asks you a question, you may not know the answer, but it does not mean that you should not try to go and find the answer. You have to have an opinion. And you can easily say, I don't know the answer, but let me call you tomorrow and tell you what my opinion is. Let me do some research. So when you want to grow up, when you really want to grow up, you start having an opinion on things that matter. And it's okay to be wrong. You can change it, but you have to have an opinion. And if you don't, go and figure out, do the research, and find a way to have that opinion. And that, for me, was a big lesson because you got to stand for something in life. So I learned that from my mentor, that if it matters to me, then I have to have an opinion, a point of view in the world. That probably was the first time I started having opinions and stood for something. I've been wrong many, many times, but I always stood for something that I believed in. So how did I get into entrepreneurship? I finished my engineering when I was 22, and by that time I had written 6 books, 4 novels, a collection of poems, and a mathematics textbook. And I thought, I must be really smart. I should start a company. And I was also doing very well in studies. So I thought, I write books, there is a fan club, so I did well in my studies. So starting a company should be easy. So I can figure things out. People would tell me, Raj, I think you should get some experience working. I said, it's not like I'll not be working when I'm starting a company. I'll be working for my own company. So I'm not avoiding work. I'll just want to work on my own company. So obviously, you would have already guessed what happened. That was, instead of getting shot, I died by 1,000 cuts. So that company went nowhere, but there was a lesson to be learned there as well. And the big lesson was, if you are good at something, does does not mean that you can take it and be good at something else without putting in the hard work. Like, for example...
Oh, Raj, that is such a lesson for people to learn. That just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be good at something else. And not only that, what I find is that people forget what they learned in the business they're leaving. You know, they don't transfer the skills that are transferable, and they just kind of go into some sort of state of amnesia, and they forget not the hand skills, I know how to file this, but the thinking skills. They think, oh, I'm in a new field now, that doesn't apply anymore. So I see that a lot. That's a big thing for you to have learned. How old were you at the time?
I was about 22.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Wow. And I can hear that you were an entrepreneur very early on, because when you were 10 and had read 700 books and you said, maybe I can write my own book, that's certainly an entrepreneurial thought. So you were an entrepreneur really, really early.
Thanks, Jackie. See, the big thing that I forgot to notice, and which is an important thing for any entrepreneur, is that when I did well in my writing, I wrote 700 articles, 6 books published, like 10 more books that were not published, and then I did very well in my studies. Both writing and doing well in studies are predominantly solo sports. But building a company, even if you are a solo entrepreneur, you need the team, ecosystem surrounding you. You need relationships with partners, friends, investors, whoever it is. It is very difficult to just say, I will do everything on my own. Even if you are a solopreneur, you still need partnerships. You can't do everything on your own. Those relationships have to be built, nurtured, and unfortunately, long-term relationships cannot be built in the short term. You cannot have a 10-year relationship just by working hard in 1 year. So that was what was the missing ingredient, and probably the biggest reason for my failure in the first business. So I decided that, I don't have that. I don't know what I don't know. So let me learn. So until 2000, I lived and worked in a few countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and France. And in 2000, I started my first company in the United States. Bootstrapped it. This time, I had the relationships. I knew what mistakes I did first time. So I was able to grow the company to a few $1 million until 2006, when I sold my stake to a venture investor. And between 2006 and 2013, I co-founded 6 other companies, 4 technology companies and 2 publishing companies.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So what was the company that you founded in 2000 that you sold?
It's a company. The company still exists. It's called Cignex, CIGNEX, and we were into building open source content management systems when there were.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So you were in the software development business.
Yeah, exactly.
At a right time to be there too. Those years 2000 to 2006, and it sounds like you got out at the right time as well.
Yeah, I think 2000 was right and wrong, because the 2000 was when everything crashed, because the stock market and everything. So what happened was people were in a sort of a cocoon mode, like they won't buy anything from anyone, whatever be the price, I won't buy anything. So you had to be really creative to not thrive, but just to survive.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing in that sense, because creativity blooms when there are a lot of constraints. Because if everything is going well, they say like rising tide takes everyone. So when there is nothing happening, there is no other option but to get extremely creative. What can we do with what we have? What new possibilities can we create? So
adversity is good for us. That's what I hear. Yeah, it makes us dig a little deeper and find new solutions. That's good to hear, and we know that that's true. And is that part of how you coach your business owners now, to tell them that, a little adversity is good for them. It makes them more creative.
Yeah, see, I have one philosophy, Jackie. It is, I believe that there are two kinds of people, those who give help and those who need help, right? So if you take a pie chart, then there will be a number of people who will give help, and there will be a lot more people who will need help. But if you think about it, you can be in one of those two categories, give help or need help. And when things go south, like recession or really job market tightens and anything, the people who give help keep shrinking, and people who need help keeps growing. So depending on what side of the pie chart you are in, either your market grows or market shrinks. Basically, if you are always needing help, the number of people who give help is very few when things go south. But if you are always giving help, there are a lot more people who need help when things go south. So it depends on how you look at the world.
More scarce for people who do help. Wow. So after 2006, when you sold your company, and you said between 2006 and 2013 you founded another 7 companies. Were they software companies? And talk about those.
2 of them were publishing companies, and then the rest were software companies, one in India and the rest in the U.S. So the latest company, as you know, is where I'm focusing my energy, is called WittyParrot. So we can talk about it, but let me complete the life puzzle, because I have 2 more hats that I wear, that I continue to write books. I wrote 6 more books, which were all business books after that. And I did really well, because the first business book I wrote was in 2005, which got forward by Tom Peterson, who is like my hero. So that did very well, and probably because of Tom's forward, because it was a big endorsement to get a forward from him. And I also teach courses for entrepreneurs on how to market, how to get some publicity, how to increase your leverage to get things done with limited resources, how to infuse some creativity so that people come to them rather than they going to the people to sell.
Wow, that's great. And have most of those books done pretty well?
Yeah, most of them have done very well. It's the new book is also coming out. I'm writing with a close friend called Bill Sherman. The book is going to be called The Impact Habit. Like what
Impact Habits.
Yeah, Impact Habit. What is one tiny habit that people can develop that will increase their impact almost on a daily basis? That's the research that we have done, and hopefully in August we'll be out with the book.
Wow. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, some of the impact habits? I gather, Raj, that you coach an awful lot of small business owners, and are you teaching them these impact habits?
Yeah, I'm teaching 2 things, Jackie. One is called the art of leverage. Like, how do we get more done with limited resources, which is always a problem for small business entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, because they have limited resources. But they forget that they have unlimited creativity. So either they can have it themselves or they can borrow it, they can read about it. There is so much that they can do if they start thinking, what are my strengths? With limited resources, still I have the creativity. How can I combine, mix and match limited resources to create gold? That's why I call myself a business alchemist. It's like, how do we combine things so that we can get some gold out of it? And this time a real gold.
So do you have some examples for us?
Yeah, so basically I have lots and lots of examples. I'll give one very simple example. There was a non-profit who was trying to do an event. So the event was new. It was like a dinner or breakfast with a celebrity who was not a major celebrity. Was like, you think of we did, if we announce it and the seats don't get filled, then it's a problem because nobody will attend future events. It has to be a sold-out event. That's the goal of the event. So what we did is that I said, let's not announce the event publicly, but we will announce it in a private link and call out a number of people and say that this is a private registration link. It's available only for 3 days, after which we will release it to public. And because you are one of our privileged users, I think you need to be given an immediate opportunity before anybody gets it. So, long story short, even before we announced it on public, the event got sold out. What is the principle here is, the principle is exclusivity and scarcity. So it's just by making it private, 3 days before it went public, we were able to fill all the seats. So like that, there are so many strategies because ultimately no business is selling to another business. They are selling to people from another business. By understanding how people think, react, there is a lot of advantages people can get. So as they have to know that business is done with people and not business and business.
That's great. What I'm thinking as you're telling that story is that you learned a lot about people from all of those books that you've read. You know, even though your mother said that none of them were useful or important, you learned from them because you learned how people act and how they respond, and and you've integrated that into your view of the world. And now, when you're talking about how can we do more with less, you can help people apply that. So you said, okay, if we need to sell tickets, instead of being out there saying, oh, please take my tickets, you said, oh, these are very exclusive and you only have 3 days to get them. And so you created a sense of urgency in people, and they want to be, get in on something that's exclusive, and you were therefore able to get them sold. That's very good and very good creative thinking.
Yeah, we also made sure one thing, Jackie, is that every person we reached out with a private link, we made sure that the event would be super useful to them. Mm-hmm. Because it has to be a win-win, otherwise it won't be long-term. So you can't make it a game where let me do this as a trick, then it stops working.
Right.
Because smart people can see through it, then it's not worth playing.
And they'll never believe you again.
Exactly. It has to be useful and meaningful and relevant, and something that they would appreciate that we reached out to them.
Very good. So you created a sense of urgency and got it done. So is this one of your impact habits, is to take a look at or to remember that you're always selling to people and not to businesses?
Yeah, the impact habit, I will tell you a little bit, Jackie, is I used to talk, based on the nature of my work, I get to meet really, really smart people. So extraordinary smart people. And when you meet them, all of them want to do one thing, change the world. Like, I want to change the world in this way, I want to change the world in that way. And it is a common thread with very smart people. Like, they want to do something really, really meaningful, bold, and world-changing, right? So, because I also meet with them over a long period of time, like over the years, 5 years, 7 years into this, I see that they have not changed the world, they have not even changed themselves. So all they have got is a new set of excuses as to why they can't change the world yet. I mean, the need to change the world has not gone away, but it has just been postponed by a few more years because of the boss, spouse, kids, situation, economy, job, you name it, there is always something, right? Mm-hmm. So Bill and I were talking about it, and why do really competent people feel that they can't get anything done or they are frustrated? So we decided that what would be one habit that they can form so that they can change the course. Like it has 3 or 4, 5 steps. So I'll go through each one of them very, very quickly. So first one is they have to stop tracking time. The moment I say it, it will come across as wrong. We are very big on time management, but what we are saying in the book is that, time as it applies to industrial economy is very different when it comes to knowledge economy. So in the industrial economy, time meant that you need to put in the work, you need to create those widgets, you need to work hard, you can create more widgets, you need to work more hard, you can create even more widgets. That is gone in the knowledge economy. In less than a minute, you can send an email that will let you lose your job, or you can send an email that will get you to win a deal. You can send an email that will break a relationship. You can send an email that will form a new friendship. All in a matter of one email that might have taken you less than a minute to send. So the concept of time has evolved. So our concept is that stop tracking time. You need to track your impact. So there is no point in saying, I worked very hard, but the other person who is paying you the money is telling, I really don't care what impact have you created, right? So that's the first one. The second one is to start thinking more. And this again comes across negative, but let me tell you, as a society, we are not used to seeing people think. Because if somebody, think about it, if I tell you, Jackie, you can play this little experiment, and you come to the studio, and for the first 15 minutes, don't do anything on the computer, but just sit and think. Very soon, Barbara or someone will come and say, Jackie, is everything okay? So you seem to be not doing anything. If you can confuse Barbara by saying, yeah, I'm just thinking, and I'll be doing this for the next half an hour. Then immediately Barbara will say, Jackie, tell me, I'm your friend, and so you can tell me what happened. You are not like this usually. No, I'm just thinking. And then it will confuse the hell out of everyone around you. Because as a society, we want people to be doing something. Just even if you know that thinking about what you're doing and then doing it is even better, you still want people to be clicking away in the computer keyboard or doing something we need to be doing. So I have devised a method called, just like to-do lists, we should create what are called as to-think lists. Like instead of writing what do I need to do, you write about what do I need to think. And then you keep a running list and have blocks of time throughout the week. Those are called thinking times to check off from your to-think list. So let me think about it. And however hard it is, you should not do this in front of a computer because it's a multitasking from hell. Because you'll check your email, you'll check Twitter, Facebook, all those things, but you'll stop thinking. Just the second step is to start thinking more. And third step is to shift your focus into a few areas that we call it charm up, CHARMUP. So first one, I won't go into all details, but I'll quickly run through them. It's charity, which is about learning without expecting anything in return. Handshake, it is connecting people that will be mutually beneficial to each other. A is for amplify, it is making something bigger or better. It could be any friend's project, it could be anything. R is for reflection, which is about thinking. M is for mandatory, because we believe that if you want to be successful, you need to do what is required, plus you need to do what you love to do, plus you need to do what is required to be done, whether you love it or not. Mm-hmm. And U is for upgrade, which is basically what can you do that will make you a better you compared to yesterday. And P is for all the projects. We think that people will have at least two projects, one professional project which is for their work, and one personal project which is for their home or kids or people in the circle of love. Usually people will have 5 to 7 projects at any point in time, big, small, medium. So all of those areas, we cover that in the chapter 3. The last chapter, the fourth chapter is where the magic is. Like you, me, and everyone else who is listening, they're all smart and they all switch context day in and day, every single day, probably 100 times. Like we both are having this conversation, we are in a particular context. After that, we will answer emails, make phone calls in all different contexts. The impact habit is that at the end of every context, before you switch to a new context, you log your impact in the 7 areas that we mentioned, CHARMUP. In one of those areas, you say, what kind of impact have you created in the previous context? And you keep doing this in a piece of paper. You can use some software like a journaling software, and you will see that people who are using this, we have already seen amazing results coming up. And the last one, I'll tell you, it's called Meet with Me, which means not meet with me in person, but meet with themselves, just to go through the impact that they have created last week. At least once a week, we tell people, meet with yourself, have a come to Jesus meeting just now with yourself. Look at all the impact that you have created, because if you want to create a mega impact, it will be a collection of micro impacts along the way. And you start tracking micro impact, you become conscious and become present to the moment. Suppose I'm having this conversation and I know that at the end of it, I have to log my impact. Did I do well? Did I get enough information that will help the listeners of the show? I have to be fully present, because it's a cliched statement to say, be in the moment, be here now, but they don't know how do we do it. So in our case, we say, you start logging your impact, you will automatically be present to the moment.
Wow. So is this the heart now of your consulting?
In consulting, I do it very, very less, Jackie, because I'm building this new company, WittyParrot. So, but whenever I do it, people come to me for new possibilities. Like they're going around their business, what creativity can we bring? How do we increase leverage? I have a set of resources. How can we mix and match so that we create a bigger impact?
I can hear after having talked with you for, half an hour, that would be a very good role for people to use with you, is to come to you to brainstorm and identify and go down the path for creating new possibilities for themselves personally as well as for their companies. I can see that you would be very good at doing that with them, and doing it in a way that helps them discipline themselves to do the things that are going to make a difference, the high-impact things, as you call it, and, not fritter away their time on, all the things that don't make a difference, but to really focus their time on the things that do make a difference. I can see easily how someone would like working with you that way, Raj.
Thank you so much. We do this in every business that we create, because we want to create tools that will help our users create bigger impact. So shall I tell you about how we use it in our home? So shall I explain how we are using it in our own company, Jackie?
Oh, I'd love to hear how you're using it in your own company.
So
that'd be great.
Basically, so let's look at how this show was set up, right? Claire called me and then said, we would love to have you on the show. And she had 6 questions, like, tell me about yourself, a bunch of questions. It's almost like qualifying questions. And in less than 90 seconds, I had answers for all of them. And how did we do it? We use our own software called WittyParrot, which is basically helps companies, small business entrepreneurs or anyone, to respond quickly to any kind of queries. Like when you are a small business, you don't have a lot of time. Like although I have co-founded many companies, the new company is still a very small company with about 10 people. So we get a lot of requests about the company, about ourselves, about the speaking engagements, bios, everything. So rather than composing responses, what we do is we assemble responses from, think of them like Lego blocks on the cloud. There is a set of piece of content. Somebody asked me, what do you do? So I don't sit and write. What do? I just drag and drop what we call a WIT into the email, and then boom, it goes. And somebody says, what does WittyParrot do? Again, we don't ever write. WittyParrot means it's a cloud-based service, nothing. So we just drag and drop a WIT, and then the answer goes. So it's the same thing, and we give it to small business owners, salespeople. Whatever amount of time they are spending in responding to either sales inquiries or customer support inquiries, they can do it in 1/10 of the time that they are spending. So they have, if they are spending 10 hours, they can do it in 1 hour, which means the 9 more hours, they can decide whatever else they want to do because the communication needs are taken care of instantly.
So this is WittyParrot, your company, right?
Exactly.
So do people subscribe to WittyParrot? Is that how it's in business? Is that how you monetize it?
Yes, that is what we do. We have salespeople using it, small business owners using it, college admissions people answering questions for prospective students, legal people, attorneys, consultants, all of them, whatever they want, commonly asked questions and common questions, everything they create what are called WITs, like reusable content blocks that they can drag and drop into a response, into a proposal, into a PowerPoint presentation, all those things.
So as I hear it, you've assembled, I like that you've assembled responses, and so if I'm a client of WittyParrot, if I've got a quote or letter or an inquiry that I've got to respond to, I can go into WittyParrot and I can sort through different responses to different types of inquiries, and using drag and drop technology, I can just move them into my letter, and I don't have to agonize over how I'm going to say something clearly and well. I can use the words in WittyParrot to get my point across and save me a tremendous amount of time and effort.
Yeah,
is that correct?
You told it better than I did.
What made you think of this as a company, Raj? That's very interesting.
Yeah,
an interesting concept.
Thank you. So this is a common problem that we have faced on the other side. So like we ask some salesperson for some response, and then we don't get the response quickly. And then we are wondering, I'm planning to buy things from this person. Why is he delaying? And on the other side, the salesperson is new or he does not know enough. So he is searching through information. The research shows that salespeople spend about 28 hours finding the right information, for 28 hours a month, finding the right information to send to customers, prospects, press people, and all those things. So we said, rather than being frustrated with our own experience with salespeople from other companies, we said there is an opportunity here that why is it taking time for them to respond? We call it the FAST process. Like FAST stands for ability to find the right information, then A stands for assemble it, then S stands for send it or share it, and T stands for tracking it. Suppose I send you something, how do I know that when did you receive it, did you not receive it? We should be able to track it. So whatever you ask me, I should be able to find it quickly, assemble it quickly, send it quickly, and track it quickly. So that's when I said there is a business here, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive. So,
wow, that's pretty good. That's very creative of you to do that. Is it being a successful company for you?
Yeah, we launched only 2 months ago, so we have several hundred people who are already using it. So, like any company, the first step is awareness, right? So people don't know we exist, and they have the problem. They don't know that there is a solution out there. So we need to tell people that there's a better way of handling communication. documents and all those things. So we are on that path now.
Okay. So that's really good. So how do you market that, Raj?
Yeah, we market it directly. One is that, people, like just on this show, you gave me an opportunity you asked me a few questions. It's already, there will be a number of people who will know about it. Like that, there are lots of our friends who are giving us opportunities to share our new solution. Then there are a bunch of partners, because there are web design agencies, sales consultants. They are becoming our partners to take it to their clients. We sell directly as well as through our partners.
Okay, that's great. So this it sounds like a very interesting company, and your book about the impact habits just sounds tremendous. Like you're having people really think about what they're doing rather than just doing and doing and doing without making any progress. So you're coming to have an impact on businesses. Do you find that most of your clients are small startup businesses? Is that who works with you, or are they larger clients?
Both of them work with me, and in general, there is always a new set of possibilities that we can create for business of any size by creatively mixing and matching everything that we have internally as well as externally. So it's basically a combination of resources. I always give one advice to entrepreneurs. People ask me, what is one thing that will make me successful? Is it the business idea? Is it the market? Is it the luck? And what is it? So I always say, if you have an overcapacity of help, which is good help, overcapacity of good help, then I can almost guarantee that you will succeed, because things are uncertain in any business. There are always things that can go wrong. But if you have an overcapacity of good help, which means you should have helped a lot of people before you get into the business, there are a lot of IOUs pending for you. There are a lot of relationships, a lot of people who want you to succeed. Then automatically you can tap into that help whenever you are getting stuck in your own business.
So what I would say about you, after having spent some time talking with you, is that your business basically is using a variety of tools and technologies, both software and one-on-one coaching and writing, but your core is to help your clients identify and implement new possibilities, help them imagine new possibilities. It seems to me that's the core theme that runs through all of the things that you say. You're helping people break out of self-imposed limitations and, boxes and corners they've backed themselves into, and identify and imagine new possibilities of ways that they can move forward to the success, whatever that is that they're looking for.
Yeah, totally. You summarized it extremely well, so I have to agree with you on that.
Oh, that's great. So in some of the things that you wrote about yourself that I was reading before we started this interview, is that you really help companies also with their branding strategies and with decreased sales. And are those kind of presenting problems why people would come to you? Is that their company, what they want it to do, and you help them imagine these new ways, new possibilities, and new ways of thinking?
Yeah, definitely, Jackie. It's basically the way I look at a brand is a brand is created in the minds of the audience. It is not what the company says, but what people perceive what the company is doing and what the company stands for. So when you are a small company, although people say, don't shoot the messenger and the message is more important, I believe strongly that the messenger colors the message in a big way. So especially if you are a small business or solopreneur, the company and the person behind the company, the brand gets mixed very quickly, because there is not much of a difference, which means that there is a big focus on personal branding. And it's an overused word, the personal brand. For me, the core and the value of contributions that the person is making. It will show that we can bond with this person. He is accomplished, and he or she is accomplished, and he or she is giving. That forms major pillars of a big personal brand. Mm-hmm. So all the companies that we build and everything, so it's basically like, for example, WittyParrot is a tool that will help people communicate their brand consistently. So, for example, Better, Smarter, Richer, the show that you have, right? Tell me more about it. Suppose you are responding, or Barbara is responding, or Claire is responding, you can be 100% sure that it's communicated 100% consistently all the time, every single time. So that's where the branding is. Everybody is speaking with one voice. That's how the brands are built.
That's very important. And even in a solo company, as you said, it's not just you. It's a collaboration and a team of people. Even though they're not necessarily your employees, they're your collaborative team that is representing you in the marketplace. And you want to make sure that everybody is saying the same thing, speaking the same language, emphasizing the same points, bringing the same message to the customer. Really important to do that. So I see that then as part of your work, what you do is help people do that, help them make sure their message is being delivered in a consistent manner.
Yes, definitely. I'm very big on it because people make snap judgments very quickly. So you send a wrong message, they make a wrong judgment, and they're off and gone because you don't get a second chance with them. In fact, I say that I talk about it and I call this the zeroth impression. Not the first impression, because people say you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. If your zeroth impression is not right, zeroth impression is even before they meet you and talk to you and everything, they will form an opinion about you because based on the social media, based on Googling your name, based on the books that you have written, blogs you have written, the shows that you have conducted, people already have an opinion and they think they are right because they are smart people and they can judge people based on the available information. Once the zeroth impression is formed, the first impression, if it is not good, then the first impression is a fight, like just to break away from what they might have thought about you to what you want them to think about you. But if the zeroth impression is great, then the first impression is a joy because people already have a great opinion about you. And then you just have to amplify it and validate that the opinion they have about you is the right opinion.
That's an interesting statement, Raj. I'm going to have to think about that because I think you're correct that because of the proliferation of social media today, that even when people haven't met you, they have an impression of you, and they've already pretty much made up their mind about you and what they think about you based on the words that are out there, the social media that is out there, the comments that are out there about you. And then if, when the meeting actually happens, you're not making a first impression. You're validating or confusing the impression that people have. And if you're confusing it, that's not a good thing. If you're validating it, it's very strong. And, it helps you move forward quite well. That's quite an insight that you have, and I imagine you talk to your clients a lot about that they really need to be careful and consistent and attentive to the impression that they are making with their e-communications and their social media. It all matters, doesn't it?
Everything matters, and I will tell you honestly, it has been a joy just working with your team until this point in time because the whole communication was very streamlined. When Claire sent me those questions, she was very clear what she was looking for. And then the blog you wrote about the show was very thorough. It picked out the right points. And then there were a set of questions. You sent me the questions, and these are the kind of questions that I will be asking. There was so much thoughtfulness into it. So when I came into the call, I already, without even knowing you, I had started liking you, thinking this will be a joyful conversation. That's the zeroth impression, the power of the zeroth impression.
Raj, it has been a joyful conversation. I've just thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, and I so appreciate your sharing your thinking with us. You are a deep thinker and an inventive thinker, and I'm sure that you've given our listeners lots of new ways to look at what they're doing, and I'm really sorry to tell you we're just about out of time. But if people are, any of our listeners are interested in learning more about you and maybe even want to join your newsletter or your blog, why don't you tell us how exactly people can get hold of you or learn more about WittyParrot and all the wonderful things that you're doing?
Yeah, I'll give you the 3 links. Actually, as you know, I write a lot. I have a blog with 1,850 articles on all sorts of things. So that my name, rajeshsetty.com/blog, that will be the place. They can just Google my name and they'll find my blog. And on WittyParrot, it's Witty, WITTY, parrot, like a parrot bird.com. And if they want to reach me, they can just send me an email at Raj, R-A-J, like Jack, at WittyParrot.com. And I'll be happy to talk or connect or meet or any kind of those things.
Well, Raj, thank you so much. It's been a thought-provoking and interesting conversation today, and I love the deep caring and the energy and the compassion for people attached to the wisdom that you have about business that you are bringing forward to your clients. And I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you today. And listeners, this has been a great conversation. I hope you will tune in next week, May 29th. We are going to talk to Linda Ross Swanson, who is a wisdom weaver, and she's going to talk to us about her process and working with people with legacy letters, as she calls them. And I know you will also find that conversation interesting. So again, this is Jackie B. Peterson. I'm the author of Better, Smarter, Richer, 7 Business Principles for Solo and Creative Entrepreneurs. And I hope you'll go to the website, bettersmarterricher.com, sign up for the free newsletter, join the conversation on the blog, download our free book with the 7 principles, and maybe even sign up for our Better, Smarter, Richer course, which you can find through www.opensesame.com. I've enjoyed it today, and I look forward to talking with you next week. Have a great Memorial Day holiday, and goodbye.